Are we ready for some stripe now?
Ain't been here before. I see the moves you put on me, I might melt to the flow. I know you.
Welcome to Unnamed Unknown podcast.
Let's go.
Let's go. It's the first time that I've done this ritual, which is pretty nice. Welcome, guys. This is the Unnamed Unknown podcast, sponsored by our very lovely EP Events, right?
Shout out EP Events.
Shout out to EP Events, big time.
Shout out.
Yeah. So this is Unnamed and Unknown, just like some of the very good music that we were listening to. It's unnamed and unknown as of now.
Unknown.
As of now. As of now. Soon enough, it'll be up on the billboards, I guess, right? That's the...
I mean, that's not really the goal, to be honest. The
That's
goal
not
is
the
more
goal.
to resonate with an audience more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is also for our podcast is about music beyond covers and borders. So
Oh, that's sick.
moving beyond covers and borders and just, letting artists shine. So today we have Stripe, or Luca Stripe, known as Stripe.
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 Yeah. Lucas Stripe, last name STRIJP, but then my stage name is just Stripe, as in a normal stripe.
Yeah.
All caps.
All caps.
All caps.
Don't forget the caps.
Yes. Block letters.
Comic book is good as well. And then we got Nico.
We got Nico too.
What's up?
He's the man behind the artist. You always need a guy who's like really the support system and bringing you to places at times, right?
I try my best.
That's Nico. That's Nico for Luca and for other artists too, as I hear.
Mainly for Luca, but then I like to help and participate in any project that I find interesting, any artist that I vibe with, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're very excited. New location, actually. You might see this in the video when it's out on YouTube, but this is a new location. It's pretty sick because we're sitting right across a recording studio and feels like home, doesn't it?
Yeah, this recording studio, this is Studio One at SAE, the School of Audio Engineering.
Shout out SAE for
shout out
having
to
us.
SAE.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think this studio has experienced every single mood that Luca Stripe can experience. Whether it's me crying in the booth with like some candles lit, or me and Nico getting absolutely turned up, making some like funny music. But no, this studio has seen it all. And yeah, it's really nice to be here. It definitely feels like home. I think this is the most comfortable place you could have asked me to do this podcast.
Oh, that's nice. It's, I guess, someone once told me that creativity comes out of a place of vulnerability. And,
For sure.
And vulnerability is when you're home,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And that's also a theme that you have touched upon a lot in your new album, Ups and Downs. Beautiful album.
Thank you
Beautiful
so
album.
much.
I love the songs. Yeah. Such good melodies, and the voice is amazing. Bit of reverb too.
Good mixes.
Good mixes. Really
out
good
Al.
mixes. Yeah, you're finding your way home in the album. This is also one of the tracks on the album.
Track
And
2.
now we are in one of your artist homes.
Definitely.
Yeah, tell us more about it. Like, what is the journey?
Okay, so the album Ups and Downs is an album that I produced with a good friend now called Do Work or Raubau or Casual. He has a bunch of different aliases. He is a 39-year-old producer who I met off an Instagram story. Somebody sent me a story of him asking, like, I need a rapper, but more specifically, I need a reliable rapper, like someone who can rap on every beat that I put onto them and will also show up to the studio sessions on time. That one we're still working on, to be honest, but the other stuff we're going better.
Because
Yeah.
aren't there lyrics on the song Present where it's like, you're never on time?
Yeah, we're almost never on time.
Never on time.
See, me and Nico even have an inside joke that's called French time.
French time?
Yeah, because like I can be late, but Nico like takes it to like another extreme.
Well, then I'm
Not
on
true.
the Italian time or something then. It's like, I guess.
Yeah, but no, Ups and Downs. I guess how like there was no concept in mind when we first started making these songs. So just for some more context about Do Work or Rao, he is an artist who focuses, or a producer who focuses primarily on making music for sync. So like music for movies, music for advertisements, etc. So when I first got to his studio, it was largely making songs for my other album, Sun and Moon, but then also trying to make some music for sync, like some movies and stuff. And then as we started making tracks, like every time I got to that studio, it would be like 2 hours, 3 hours. But then every single time we left, we made a song from scratch, no samples, and sometimes even 2 or 3 songs in one session. And so at some point, we had like 6 or 7 songs, and we were like, okay, they all are very vulnerable and very raw. How can we connect this into like some type of big theme? And that's how we landed with Ups and Downs, because the album is a very big ride. It's kind of like a roller coaster. You know, you start off with this very vulnerable track, Ups and Downs, the title track, and then you go to Present, then you go to Find My Way Home, and then all of a sudden you land at Soon As I, which is this like mosh pit, uplifting banger. And that, I guess, you know, as the album goes on, you realize like these are all different types of sounds and different types of genres, but all the concepts are tying together really well. And I think the main part of me working with Rao was he allowed me to be very raw and very vulnerable.
Pushed you even.
Exactly, pushed me. Like normally when a producer will give me feedback on like a verse or something, I find it really hard to take it in because I don't want people to, you know, alter my vulnerability. But Rao gave me feedback in a way that I could understand it. Like more specifically for this track called Better Man, I had just came in to the studio and I had talked to him about how me and my father are no longer in contact. And when I first started writing the verse over this instrumental that he made, I was coming at it in like a very aggressive tone, almost as in like, hey, fuck you, dad, like, look, I can do this better. And then at some point he was like, I was having a kid as well in like a month or two, and he was like, hey, if my daughter made this track in the same like way that you're doing, I don't think I could ever recover. So then I took a step back, adjusted my lyrics, adjusted my perspective, and he helped me see not just the song in a whole new way, but also my relationship with my father in a completely different manner.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Better Man also, is the two perspectives merging, one from a son trying to be a better man than his father, and one from someone who's going to be a father and wants to be a good father and wants to be recognized as a good father also in the future. And the mix of those two perspectives is really what is making this song so unique and beautiful, I would say.
Interesting that you, yeah, through music sort of find new relations with. Yeah, it's sort of therapeutic in that sense.
100%, completely therapeutic.
You'd go through, I guess, like sessions to get to a stage and just making music for your experience and for your journey with this emotion.
100%.
And that's also the name Ups and Downs makes sense for this album, this project also, because it's a string of studio sessions between Stripe and Do Work, between Luca and Rob, that sometimes are about good moments in your year, sometimes about less good moments. And so Ups and Downs really encapsulates that variety of different moments that are expressed in the session, where the beat is made on the spot, the lyrics are made on the spot, and it really makes sense.
But even deeper than that, it's kind of about how without the ups, there's no downs. And in the sense that if I didn't have that negative relationship with my father, I would never have taken a step back and see how I approach relationships, which I discuss in Final Piece and Find My Way Home. And of course, like if like what I said, if I didn't have that negative experience, I would never take a step back and reflect on how I act around people and how I act within a relationship and around love. And I think that's what that album is very important for.
So what's the new place that you feel you are in as an artist after having made that breakthrough with your own emotions? I mean, it's quite the journey, right? Like, because what you just mentioned is quite interesting, that you were approaching that song in a bit of a aggressive tone and trying to go all out on your dad, and now you're in a much more compassionate, peaceful place, and being more generous and towards the experiences and grateful for the experience even. Does that reflect in how the lyrics are evolving now after having written that song and made that song?
So I think, I mean, I've been releasing music since 15, and the whole reason I started writing music was I was living in Mexico, and my whole life I had been going to international schools, and then I ended up in Mexico all of a sudden, and I was just this one of the only international kids at the entire school, and all the other kids, like, their parents had gone to their school, their grandparents had gone to that school. And so then I found music as a way to be vulnerable and raw and express my feelings because nobody else really wanted to listen to them. And so I don't think that there's necessarily been too much of a journey in terms of vulnerability. I think that's always been my strong suit. Like, no matter what, you can go back and listen to my old projects. They sound like shit, but I am leaving my heart on the tracks no matter what. And I think now, as I'm growing up, it's less about me being vulnerable, and it's more now I'm able to translate those feelings onto the pen and paper a lot better than I used to do. You know, like before I would struggle with like forcing a rhyme to try to make a story, whereas you shouldn't be forcing a rhyme to try to make a story. It should be the story, and if you can't fit the rhymes, well, then you'll find another way to tell the story, you know? And now I see that, whereas before it was very much like, this is what I want to tell, Google documents of all the different stories and themes that I need in my album. But we didn't do that this time. It was just like, I walked into the studio, I felt a certain way, and I think that's the best way to approach it, you know? If not, you end up with just some forced feelings that you don't need.
And that debate also brings me back to a discussion we had a few days back. So Luca also has been writing an album called Sun and Moon for a long time. And after seeing how well he's evolved through the writing of Ups and Downs, and Sun and Moon is not released yet, is going to release after Ups and Downs, but reflecting on how he expressed those emotions back in the days, and with what writing and what rapping and what singing, and now he kind of also leveled up on those. And so it was a whole discussion of, yes, but that way of writing and rapping represents what you were living back then, and it cannot be detached from the emotions of back then. But also it would be so interesting to re-explore those emotions with the abilities you have today in music and writing.
Yeah,
So it's an interesting debate also.
Yeah. That's actually, that's what I was, I guess, insinuating in the beginning. So you're re-exploring the same emotions with different
Ability and skill,
yeah.
I guess is what I would say. No, and like the conclusion I got to with Nico was Sun and Moon. I'm just going to quickly explain the concept of it. It's about this concept that I came up with, that love is cyclical. Love is a cycle, just like the sun and moon. You know, at first you'll get into a relationship, and that relationship will feel extremely bright and happy. And then, of course, you know, just that first honeymoon phase. But then as
Yeah.
time passes on, you start to learn about their trauma. You start to learn about negative things. You know, oh, I don't like the way that they eat. I don't like the way that they clean. Whatever it is.
Yeah, the passion sort of like goes through a journey.
Exactly.
Of
And
course,
then the moon starts to rise.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck, there's no more sunlight. And then it's up to you to decide, do I want to continue the cycle, like wait for that sun to come back up? Or do I find a new person who, you know, that sun will probably last for a little bit longer, but
Right.
eventually that moon is going to set again. And I wrote this 3-4 years ago, some of the tracks. It was throughout my parents' split. It was throughout a nasty breakup I was going through. And I came to the conclusion myself that, like, okay, maybe my rapping ability is not as good on those tracks from 3 years ago, but I'm not able to go back into the studio and re-record and rewrite them because
Right.
I'm not able to relive
No.
those experiences. So we came to the conclusion that it's okay that the rapping ability isn't as good. There will be someone who's still going to appreciate it and
Yeah.
relate to this and resonate with these topics and these themes, regardless of if the raps aren't perfect. And, you know, if someone is going to scroll and see Ups and Downs and then listen to Sun and Moon after and be like, oh, quality is a bit shit, then
Right.
hopefully they have the compassion or the empathy to go listen to a podcast like this and realize the context behind it and see what's up with it, you know?
Yeah, that's our motivation, actually. So, yeah, good that you mentioned this as well. Like, the idea is, of course, there's a lot that goes behind an artist. Like, there's a lot of unseen chapters
Most definitely.
that are all contributing towards the lyrics. And, yeah, sometimes those stories get hidden. And, yeah, eventually, if you're a fan, you sort of want to have that access to those stories because somewhere you're resonating with those lyrics with yourself. And if you kind of know the backstory of those lyrics, I feel, in my perspective, you resonate better. You're more understanding of the artist and their journey, and you kind of also expect, okay, where is this journey going to go?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why, like, for example, on Sun and Moon, there's already tracks that are out that are on the album, like Terms and Conditions, 6:07 a.m. These are all very vulnerable tracks of mine. And right now you'll listen to them, and they won't really sound like a part of a story. But I promise the audience, like as soon as you guys hear this whole album in context, everything will make a lot more sense with terms and conditions and 6:07 a.m. as well.
So what's the story behind 607? Because I absolutely loved the vibes on that.
So it's really
it's
funny.
literally the 6:07 a.m. like coming back from a party. And
Yeah.
you're just sitting down.
Bullseye question.
Just
Jeez. So
that's
there was some
it. That's it.
interesting recording sessions in this room.
we'll get to that.
specifically,
We'll get
bro.
to that. We'll get to
So
that.
what kind of party was before
Okay.
the 6:07? What
So-
happened at 101?
So this track is about my current girlfriend. We had a little bit of a break at that time. I was still madly in love with her, and I don't know. She had this kind of feeling like, if I stay with you, this is like the relationship I'm gonna be in for the rest of my life. And it was like she wasn't sure if she was ready for that, and I completely understood that. You know, like we're young, people still want to explore, and just for like the added context, now we're back together and we're completely happy. You know, it was just like a little bump in time. But that song 6:07 a.m. I included this little voice message at the start, and it was when we were coming back from Radion, this techno club in Amsterdam.
Radion goes wild. For the audience that doesn't know Radion goes wild. So now,
Wild.
And a lot of substances are taken at that club.
yeah.
So we come out of this club obviously completely fucked out of our mind, and there's this bridge on the way back to my place that meant a lot to us. Like every time we go out or every time we go do something together, we end up walking back on that bridge. And so at 6:07 a.m. I pulled my phone out and I recorded that voice message. Then it was, I think, a month later that she had broken up with me at site, the train station, and I was walking back and I walked past that bridge, and then I got home, sat on my laptop, and I was like, fuck. And then within 30 minutes that whole track came
Wow.
out, just like spewed out of me. And then I know where Nico's trying to go with this.
No, I'm just saying that bridge is now known as the 6:07 a.m.
The
bridge.
6:07
the
a.m.
6:07 a.m. bridge. Well, we gotta point it out on the map and
It's on the
put
cover
a-
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we show the
That's
cover.
beautiful.
So
That's-
then,
So Amsterdam now has two famous bridges. One's a skinny bridge, and then there's the 6:07
a.m.
bridge.
Exactly.
okay. So then we'll move forward like a week after I made the track. I had already sent it to like all my friends, and everyone was like, holy shit, Luca, this is the best song you've ever made. Like I've had people tell me that they were crying, whatever. I had even like sent it to my ex at the time, and I was like, what do you think of this? And she was like, I need some space. I can't handle this. This is too much emotion right now. So then that happened. Then a week later, me and Nico were at that time working at the same place. It's called O'Donnell's, this Irish pub, Al Marie Heinekenplein. And I was sitting outside having a cigarette during my break, and he comes and talks to me. He's like, "Oh, like why are you looking so down?" And so I explained him the whole situation, and then even told him about the 6:07 a.m. track. Ended up sending it to him, and then what's funny is that this podcast we're having right now, that room right there, booth 2. Later, I of course told Nico like I need to record this properly. I just bullshitted it in my room. Man, Nico like led me through that whole recording process. We ended up turning all the lights off, like candles, whatever it was, and like because of that, like that's how me and Nico's relationship grew to be so strong. Like he just witnessed me like be completely vulnerable and completely raw in a state that I just like, yeah, like it was very hard, of course, trying to get myself back into that breakup mood, and like that exact 30 minutes after the breakup, like it's very hard to recreate. I
So
was very
Nico,
grateful for it.
would you say this is the maxed out romantic setting that you have ever prepared
For the podcast?
for anyone?
For anyone? Yeah,
For
definitely. No,
Luca
I'm joking,
Luca
I'm
is the
joking.
special one then. Because
Do I-
that
I do-
sounds lovely, like to have candles and the whole like low dim lighting and everything.
Yeah.
No lighting, just dark.
So
Pitch.
when you're a recording engineer with an artist, you're also helping the artist navigate muddy waters between the very intense emotions and also the technicity of the voice, and recreating a good set for the artist to be able to relive those emotions
Right.
through the text and in that recording moment. And that's also why recording can be so therapeutical, because
Yeah.
you're reliving those moments and reworking those emotions. And I feel like Luca and I do this pretty well together in the studio. I have a bit of my own like therapist side. My mom is a therapist as well, you know.
Yeah,
And
because it seems like you're very yeah, you guys seem to have a good chemistry that way, that you're sort of like understood like exactly how to channel that energy out of Luca. So
Yeah.
607 becomes what 607 is. And I personally as well, when I heard this song, and I heard it just like a couple of days ago or something through your Instagram, and I got in vibes. I was like, wow, this is really like, let me light one up.
yeah.
But even like I will say, like all that work into making the mood perfect still didn't work out. Like in the original, like in the current master track that's uploaded on Spotify, a lot of the vocals are still from the original takes from my room. Like I just was not able to recreate it.
Yeah,
Like
it's a
no
mix.
matter how
Yeah.
much I tried, like sure I hit all the notes, but it was just like we were playing it in the studio. It's like it doesn't feel the same way as me crying in my room about this breakup.
Even the
So
candles.
okay, one thing to
No.
know, one thing to know about Stripe is this guy has like constant demoitis. Do you know what demoitis is?
Not particularly, so please elucidate also for
Demoitis
the audience.
is when you make a demo and then you're like infected by this demo. You have demoitis, and whatever you're gonna do in the studio, you're gonna be like, no, it's not as good as the demo. It's not as good as the version I did in my bedroom.
Demo is like a scratch track that you recorded in your bedroom or like just quickly on the go, and you weren't like now I'm trying to prevent this demoitis by every time that I make a song, we just finish it in the first
Yeah.
time, because those emotions from the first time you get on it never feel the same. It's also, for me at least, when I hear an instrumental, the first melody that comes to my head is always going to be the most catchy.
Yeah.
Like every time a producer is like, oh, can I show you some beats? I'm like, don't show me now. Show it to me in the studio or send me a pack when I'm in the studio, because if not, I'm just going to ruin my inspiration for this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I can resonate with that. Like, I was writing poetry for a long time, and I would always write when I would have a heavy emotion. I'd be sitting in the evening, just sometimes drunk, sometimes not. I don't drink for 2 years now, by the way.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I gotta mention that, man. Yeah, but whenever I'd be like really like heavy, what you also mentioned, so that's why I really connected with you on that. And then I started actually compiling it into a book.
Make sure to speak in the mic also.
It's
Sorry
not-
to cut you.
Not the best pro host then.
All good, bro.
Yeah.
Well, we have audio engineers here. I'm not the audio
We'll
engineer.
be
guy.
okay.
But yeah, when it came to editing, it took me about 1.5 years. Like from March 2020 till like it was released in July 2021. And I completely feel you on that. Like what you write in the moment, and then you write for yourself. I feel like whenever you create something in the moment, you sort of create for yourself.
Yeah, just to let loose of that heavy baggage on your shoulders.
Yeah, and then at some point you're transitioning and channeling that so that it becomes something for the audience.
Yeah, product.
Yeah, yeah. So how is that journey? How's moving from
So-
thoughts and ideas to audience?
Super funny that you say that. Like, I used to think that exact same way, but then the working with Duwork, or Rao, the guy who we made Ups and Downs with, has completely changed my perspective on that. He has this whole approach to music where it's fuck the audience. Like, if you know, like, you're not making music for anyone, you're making music for yourself, and whoever resonates with it resonates with it. Like, you shouldn't be editing lyrics or editing lines to like try to be more approachable or more like acceptable to other people. It's more, you just slap your emotions on the table, and if some people are gonna like it, some people don't. You know, I think that's what it's more about. Like,
You can't imagine what people like.
exactly.
In general, in life, I feel like it's something that is good to remind yourself.
So I've
of.
strayed away from that completely. Like, there's no more thought of who's gonna like this. Is if I like it, that's important, and if I'm working with another producer, if they like it, just as important. Like, we both need to like it. But other
Yeah.
than that, that's it.
And that makes the Stripe brand actually more consistent because you're getting that vulnerability and honesty that also transcends borders and covers, every single time. And you get that realness. And I think that's where, Luca keeps his fans.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good in today's day and age where everything is being shifted with AI and this and that, and we were just talking about AI outside. It was very interesting. I saw Luca writing a entire PDF, sort of like a description of the album or something.
So
you
it's
were
like
working
every
on?
song, when you're uploading a album to Spotify, when you eventually get to a level as an artist, when you're no longer using a distributor like DistroKid,
Yeah.
then you get to like the Orchard, which is what we're currently
Right.
on. And these guys will have meetings with Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon, and pitch the tracks in a call to them.
Yeah.
So if I need to give them the description of what each track means to me, what it could mean to somebody else, and
Yeah.
what type of playlist it could fit on. That's what I was writing.
Yeah, and he was writing it all.
By hand.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much old school traditionals. Yeah, so much respect to you. So if you're in that process, I can imagine that you deserve to have some sort of like control and be like, yeah, this is it. This is me.
100%.
The
Yeah,
vulnerability
unedited.
for an artist, I think, goes beyond the music as well.
Yeah.
As in, you have to be also vulnerable when you're pitching your track to a distributor,
Right.
but also
In front of the camera.
in front of the camera or in front of on a photo shoot, on a concert. I think that's where you're also building your universe,
Yeah, and like for example, before this podcast started, you asked me like, "What do you want to talk about?" And is there anything you can't talk about? I was like, "Don't worry about it." You
No,
can
he's
mention
open. He's an
anything."
open book, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Literally.
if this was being live and the comments were coming in,
Yeah, I'd be answering them.
yeah, that's the energy of a good artist, I feel, because yeah, you're really like become a channel, right? Like
Yeah.
I always think as an actor as well that whenever I step in front of the camera or stage or I have a character, it's almost like I'm non-existent. I'm just like a vessel, and there's this energy flowing through me.
Definitely, I can feel that completely, and that I think that's what the whole demoitis thing is. Is like when I try to re-record tracks, I'm no longer a vessel.
No,
I'm like somebody who's trying to translate what that vessel was
Yeah.
saying, as opposed to being the vessel itself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a complicated journey. Like what happens in the moment stays in the moment, and yeah, it's very hard to recreate the moment. Even if Nicholas is setting the light, the tone, and setting up some candles.
Yeah.
Have you done that for a date ever?
What?
Have you ever done that for a date?
Nicolas is French, man. Of
He's
course he
French.
has.
He's yeah.
I got my little romantic side.
Yeah,
he
does.
he
No
paints them
worries.
like French girls. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, what sort of artists have inspired you?
So I think my big three would be Mac Miller,
Let's
Smino,
go, Mac.
and Coda the Friend. Yeah, those three.
Thumbs up if you know it.
Yeah. I think for Mac Miller, it's again the vulnerability and the honesty that he shows. Not just
What's your favorite album from Mac? It's very hard to choose. Each album is a masterpiece.
I love Faces because of how vulnerable he is,
Oh,
but
wow.
nothing like musically can top Swimming for me. Like Swimming is the
Yeah.
GOAT hip hop album in my eyes. Like there's nothing that
Yeah.
comes close to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Swimming is amazing. I quite like Good AM as well. Macadelic was very melodic.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of his old stuff. And you kind of see his journey as well. I mean,
100%. I mean,
He's
he was just making frat rap before.
yeah. With Knock Knock and
Exactly.
Senior Skip Day,
Yeah.
those are still classics. I mean, so you never know, man. Like, people find your tracks from the old days and they
Yeah.
go classic, and you're like, wow, I thought these were shit, because you were like saying that, yeah, they're not the best rap, and
No,
who
no,
knows?
no,
Who
no.
knows?
These tracks, they're like auto-tune on the wrong key, like rapping off beat. Like I just didn't know what I was doing yet. But I would never delete it still. Because of
No,
what you
as
said
you
about the
should.
Mac
As you
Miller thing.
should.
It's like
man.
growth.
Yeah, it's
Like there was a long time in life where I was really embarrassed about it because I was like, do people really want to listen to my thoughts at 15? But like even more than that, like a suicidal 15-year-old, like it's just corny.
yeah.
It just is. But I decided it's better to just keep it on. Like for
Absolutely.
me, like the tracks that you mentioned from Mac Miller, I think are corny. Like like all the older frat rap stuff, I can't listen to.
You
Like,
cannot
I
listen
can't
to?
listen to it.
No. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
like
every now and then I love to listen to.
I think from like
Knock
Good
Knock.
AM onwards, it gets better, and I think the Divine Feminine was like the turning point for him. Like after the
Divine Feminine is amazing.
after that everything is golden. Like from the Divine Feminine onwards, everything is like at least a 8.5.
yeah, and he
for me.
still has tracks, and if you go on SoundCloud, you find
Yeah, full albums.
Larry Fisherman,
Yeah.
and what was the other
Delusional
one?
Thomas.
Delusion Thomas. Oh
Yeah.
my, DT is amazing.
Yeah.
DT is gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of hear him as well in his. We're talking about Mac Miller, but we're sort of like resonating back to what you were saying. You sort of hear his journey through from 2009, 2000 what?
2018, I think,
25,
2019,
25. We had
Yeah, but I
we
mean
had
he passed
balloonerisms.
away, and like it's not really.
I get
from
it. I get
2025,
it.
you know?
I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. For me, his soul is still there, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. And you have a tour coming up. Your first tour. It's exciting. It's
6 dates. We're gonna be doing Glasgow, Dublin, Birmingham, London, Amsterdam, and Berlin.
big cities.
Yeah, big city.
So make some noise if you're heartbroken in here. Okay, a couple people. Michael, always heartbroken though, little sad boy. I'll be fine. What do you want? What do you want? I need movement. Maybe make some space in the middle for some dance floors. Come on. What? You ready? What? It felt something. I said that look. I wasn't on another grade. Gonna have it.
Cities.
Yeah, big cities.
For music scene, there. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm happy.
that's how
We're-
you were growing.
We're so happy.
Big
I mean,
signs.
it's gonna be a lot of flicks busing and struggle meals.
Yeah, how's that journey? How's that journey as an artist? Because I heard your schedule and damn, man. Holy shit. We're talking about like what Elon Musk is doing with his rituals, man. Listen to this guy now. He's
Yeah,
he's
I
on a
think,
go.
I think ever since last year in February, basically what happened was last year in January, my favorite artist, one of the top 3 I mentioned, Coda the Friend, announced that he was doing a show at the Melkweg, and he did not have any openers yet. And then in my head, I was like, look, I can send him an email or something, but it's never going to get read anyway. So that day, 20 minutes after his post, I started writing a verse, and then I posted that, and like I remixed his track basically, and for 30 days straight, I posted a remix every single day of his tracks, like writing fresh verses from my perspective on his beats.
Yeah.
And
Consistent effort.
then we got the Melkweg show, and I opened up for Coda the Friend, and I met my favorite
Amazing,
artist.
man. Congratulations.
And
in
in that
retrospect.
moment, it was kind of like, okay, when I put the time and the hard effort into it, things are working out. Like, it was very much, for me in Amsterdam, especially for hip hop, like the underground scene is there's not really much there. Of course,
No.
there's like the Michael Ecos, the Hessel the Marks, Fred Maybe, who are all doing their own shows. But at the same time, for like the bigger Melkweg, Paradiso, like all those bigger artists who perform there from the UK or the US, the only people who are ever opening up for them are the other artists that are signed to the same label, which was why I saw this opportunity open up for Coda the Friend, is because he's a completely independent artist. And that's why I mentioned him in my big 3. He like kind of represents for me what it means to be an independent artist. Like,
Right.
he did the whole thing on his own, never signed a label deal. When we met the guys from the tour, on the tour, it was just his friends, and like
Yeah.
it was just beautiful to see. And then ever since that day, it's just been working and working and working.
Yeah.
And like I can't stop now. Like it's,
No.
I got my like first little
You're in
taste
the.
of it.
You have your mojo.
Exactly.
yeah,
I got my
right.
first little taste of what it feels like to have a win. And after like lots of losses, and it just felt
Yeah, it's a
great.
journey, right? Ups and
Yeah.
downs as you.
Exactly.
as put it in
And
your
I think it was
album.
also like when I was living in Mexico, I ended up performing at one of the biggest festivals in Latin America on 2 different occasions. And moving back to Amsterdam was kind of like starting from ground zero all over again.
Right.
Like trying to build up all these connections. And for a while I was like, damn, like of course I was unhappy in Mexico, but I was really like pushing myself in that industry and my networking over there. And moving back to Amsterdam, it felt like I reset. And then this Code of the Friend thing happened, and I finally felt like I was back on that level maybe like even steps higher than where I was at in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we it's interesting, and kudos to you to go through this journey and sort of also identify your own strengths and build
Yeah.
that confidence. I think that goes a long way. That'll create the foundation for you for. It's a long journey, man. As an artist,
Most
you're
definitely.
just like starting up, and there's a long way to go. You still have to sell out some shows.
Yeah, and it's even like a perspective thing. I think when I first started making music at 15, I was like, yeah, I'll be good by like 22, 23, you know?
Yeah,
Like, I'll be
Grammys.
touring, Grammys, whatever. But then I like took a step back and I checked out all my favorite artists like JID, Code of the Friend, Jordan Ward, Smino, and then I looked at their first time that they broke through with like an album or a project, and then I checked their age at the moment of releasing it. It was like 26, 27, 28. I was like, oh,
You got
maybe all these little TikTok boys with one hit is not very sustainable.
No,
Like, I don't
no,
want that.
no.
And then also talking to Code of the Friend backstage and like hearing about all his journey, it was like very much inspiring, and it like
Yeah.
completely shifted my perspective. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing this to make a living out of it. I'm more just doing this because I can't do anything else.
right.
You know, I don't see myself doing anything else.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I know already the answer, but an interesting question is, if you were actually not rapping, what would you be doing?
I would just be a writer, like a books, and like even like just like
Let's go.
fiction, fantasy books, poetry books, whatever it is. Like English was always my favorite subject. Like I would like math. I absolutely despise, especially geometry. History I still liked because it was reading. Science, I just found it like every like in my head it was like every big discovery that could be important has been found. You know, it's unimportant to me. And yeah, the English was what always resonated with me. Language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like at the end of the day, we're expressing through the language. And Nicolas, you're French, so I know that French people sometimes also like it's my perspective from having French friends. Like some people say the French people are not that good at English. It's actually not true. They are
Thank you.
actually good, but
Yeah.
French vocabulary is so nuanced and so detailed that there are a lot more words to express. And that's why when a French person is trying to express himself in English, the vocabulary is too small.
Yeah, it's so funny you say this because Nico will be like reading my lyrics and he'll be like, what the fuck does this mean? I'm like, stop reading it in French, read it in English.
Every time.
Because he's like,
Every time.
he's like reading it in French and it doesn't sound poetic in his head because it's very like literal in English.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, take a step back.
It's a
Don't see
phrase,
it as
bro.
French.
It's a
Yeah,
prose.
yeah. And whenever I try to translate in English something that I write in French,
Sounds so
it's like-
stupid.
Yeah.
doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I'm
too out
missing
there.
Thibaut here right now because I would made a bunch of jokes on Thibaut.
Yeah.
But our EP events master, Thibaut, he's also French. Great guy. But yeah, that's interesting. So how do you see music transcending borders from Mexico to Amsterdam now? Do you see a difference in the music scene in terms of the business? I've usually heard that Amsterdam or Netherlands is a bit less forgiving towards artists. There are not many spaces there in the city to create. I mean, SAE is amazing. I mean, this looks great, but
You know what it is? I think in Mexico, I wasn't getting the opportunities I was getting due to talent. It was more just like, oh, this white Dutch guy is interesting. Let's get him on TV because there's no one else like him in the city. Oh, let's get him on the festival stage because we don't have any hip hop acts. And at the time, it felt good. But like looking back at it, it was more just like I was kind of just like a toy or like a playboy in a sense, you know, like just like a poster
Right.
boy that they smacked up
Yeah.
on just so they'll get a couple extra views.
yeah.
Whereas here in Amsterdam, every time I performed, whether it was Canal 40, the radio show for the SAE graduation party, like it's always been so honest. And
Right.
sure, it's unforgiving, but once you get into those rooms, it just feels a lot greater.
And as you mentioned, there's hard work. There's hard work that's going behind the shooting of getting to the stage, right? Like,
Yeah.
and maybe you were missing that journey because there's a certain flavor and sweetness to the struggle as well. Like,
Definitely. You
yeah,
need to struggle to get
definitely,
anywhere.
Yeah, I was watching this. There's this note shared by this billionaire now, and he has like a couple of billion dollars from selling a company or something. I'm forgetting the name of the company. It was on my head. And he was saying that he doesn't know what to do. He's just sitting down on his couch. He's bought everything. All the dreams are there. Everything he had ever dreamed of, he has purchased. But he's now feeling like, I don't know what next I should do.
Yeah, go express yourself. Like, I think that's what, like, I would do if I had that much. Like, for me, like, at least for me personally, I think a lot of rappers, if you had them on this couch and you asked them something like this, they'd be like, oh yeah, like I'm working on getting that first chain or getting that first
Yeah,
house.
right.
But, like, to me, it really doesn't matter.
Because that's a whole culture as well. It's music scene has also become quite materialistic. Recently, well, in the last 10 years or so. I mean, it was always sort of like there, artists like that, and as they should and they deserve. Like, yeah, if you're making good stuff, making good money, feel good too. Treat yourself. But that can never be the vision, and I don't think that that's ever been. Maybe it was when you were 15, but now you're sort of a bit more humble about it. And
honestly, not even when I was 15. Like, at that point, it was like what I was saying earlier about, I think I'll make it by 22 and 23. It was more the sense that I felt so pressured to like pick a bachelor's degree in like business or whatever,
Right.
and it was like very
Right.
much like as I was watching my like graduation coming up, I was like, time is ticking.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to make this work and convince my father that I can be a musician, then I need to like show him something,
right.
you know. And then eventually those festivals came, and then it was all fine, and then I could pursue my own dream. But that's also kind of where me and my father started. You know, our relationship started dwindling a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to be an actor as a kid in India, so yeah, I had my own struggles that way. But fortunately, along the journey, like now, I'm still picking it up, and there's a bit more compassion towards it. So I think it's also a journey. The relationships with your blood,
Yeah.
they evolve over time, and
Ups and downs.
yeah, ups and
Exactly.
downs. And you're going
Shifts and
back home
moves.
on the track as well. There's another track that you're going back home.
Yeah.
And I was listening to your track, and you were saying that there was a lyric in there, or a couple of lines where you were mentioning that you see what the things that you are facing. You saw that in your family, and you're seeing those patterns repeated.
Yeah.
Has that brought more compassion towards your family, or towards your dad, and feeling like, okay, I see myself in his image too, and I sort of get him.
Damn. I don't know, to be honest. Like, I can take a step back and I'm no longer very angry at my father at all, but I think the lack of compassion is still missing because he doesn't admit to his mistakes and he doesn't reflect on his mistakes, and there's still no growth there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think once there's growth there, then I will be more forgiving and more accepting.
Yeah.
But right now, this Better Man track was a first step towards it. It was
Yeah.
me accepting, like, hey, you are human. You can make mistakes. The way that you grew up and your father probably, I mean, it is the large reason as to why you are today. I've met my grandpa. He's also a very cold man. So I understand where he is. But at the same time, it's like once you've realized that you're this cold person who maybe hasn't treated people so well, maybe it's time for you to take a step back and change things. And I think that's what's still missing for me until I can show him more compassion. Like, I still haven't talked to my father.
Yeah, beautiful. But
Yeah.
maybe your father is gonna watch this, and
I'm
who
sure
knows?
he will.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad. Yeah.
What was the warming up journey for you? What warmed you up?
Therapy. But just generally,
Therapy's big time.
when I was 13, I lost my best friend to cancer.
Oh,
And
sorry to hear that.
yeah, I think just that in general has made me take a step back and always think about how I'm treating people, how other people treat me, and the way that I approach things in life. Like, I have this bar on one of the remixes for Code of the Friend where it's like something along the lines of like, his life got cut short, now he's living vicariously through me. Like, the way that
Wow.
I see it is that now I'm a vessel
Beautiful.
for him in a sense, because we both had very similar dreams.
Do you
You know?
feel that energy at times?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Tim is always here.
Tim is always
Yeah.
here. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's been. We could go on for hours, man.
Yeah.
we
We'll be
were
back.
just talking. We were just talking. We could go on for hours just on Mac Miller, and we had to
Easy.
pause in between, literally,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it's actually, it's quite a privilege to be sitting with you also as a fellow artist, because I'm really resonating, and I had goosebumps a couple of times when you were saying things, because they were like, yeah, I feel that as well, like, you know, that's what people want to hear as well, like,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
about like connecting to each other's experiences
Exactly.
and growing together.
100%.
Through your music, maybe someone else is feeling, oh yeah, I'm also going back home, or I'm becoming a better man, you know, or like
Exactly.
uh
Or on your journey to become a better man.
yeah, absolutely.
We all have a transformative power, and I think music is an amazing media for that.
Yeah,
you know.
music is the answer.
So that's what I wish for everyone, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this was episode 4 with
Stripe.
Luca Stripe or Stripe. Absolutely.
work.
I love the art stage name as well. It's also like very witty. in
Shout
that
out
sense.
Pato from Mexico who helped me came up with that.
Absolutely. Shout out to everyone who's been along the journey for Luca, from his exes to his to that camera. Yeah, so shout out to everyone who's been with Luca on his journey, and yeah, we wish him really all the best of luck. That's what I
Thank
like
you.
to say. Not
Thank
all the
you.
best or best of luck, all the best of luck, man.
Ah.
Take it all, and
yeah.
right. And Nicholas too, you've been yeah, an amazing partner, and I love this duo. Take him along, bring him to the big stages, sell out Coachella.
Easy.
Let's
Soon
go.
enough,
Get
soon
a
enough.
couple of Grammys or something.
Before
Yes,
we
sir.
leave, stream present whenever it comes out. I think it'll be May 4th,
Oh,
May
that's-
5th. And then also get your tour tickets June 4th in Amsterdam for all my Amsterdam listeners. And if anyone is listening from London, join in on, what was it, May 31st?
31st, yes.
Come join us. Thank you.
Absolutely. And
Tickets on Instagram bio.
Yeah, and if this is not coming out by then there's going to be another tour for
Easy.
sure. And present is amazing. And soon enough, we're going to name that bridge on Google Maps. Get on Google
607
Maps.
Bridge.
607 Bridge. That's going to happen. This
For
was Unnamed Unknown Podcast, episode 4, sponsored by our very own EP Events. Thank you so much, Luca. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for being with
Thank
us
you.
and sharing your journey in the most uncandid and unhinged. Candid and unhinged. That's
Thank
what.
you, sir.
Cheers. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Ain't been here before. I see the moves you put on me, I might melt to the flow. I know you
Welcome
don't
to
enjoy
Unnamed
change, but it's time to explode.
Unknown.